Hey, I'm Casey Ocupe, and this is Free Speech Northwest. And Free Speech Northwest. Free speech. I like that. Now, we're doing a show on censorship. Censorship. I hate it. I don't like it. So, if there's somebody out there who listens to the show and they decide that it needs to get taken down, like censors, if they're like, this is hate speech, I additionally want to tell them to go fuck themselves off the bat. So, you, if you're censoring me, if you're just listening, I like you. I love you. I think you're cool. But if you're gonna censor this show, know that I said F you. That's how I'd like to start our censorship episode. All right, Free Speech Northwest. Free Speech Northwest is brought to you by Adams Ribs Smokehouse, located at 1210 State Street, Salem, Oregon 97301. Hey, I'm Casey Ocupe, and this is Free Speech Northwest. And today, we're going to talk about censorship. Censorship. I'm not a fan. I'm not a big fan. So let's all introduce ourselves from my left to right. Go ahead.
My name is Christen Ziebart.
Okay, you know me.
I'm Brandi Sky Eagle.
Okay, so censorship. Great. Is it ever okay, Brandi, to...
Well, that one's tricky because, yeah, sometimes, but for the most part, no.
I like it. What do you think?
I'm leaning more on the no side just because I like to examine everything and look at all the possibilities, all the information, and then kind of, conclude it myself.
Okay. So, censorship, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of vague. Is it ever okay? I mean, we censor our kids, don't be rude, don't say shut up or whatever. But when we're in the adults and we're in the social atmosphere and everything, it's not nice to say things that aren't nice. It's mean. But if you're saying something you know is true and you're passionate about it, you believe it, and it's, you should definitely have the right to say it. I mean, without question, I think.
I agree with that, yes, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's a lot of censorship happening right now. It's focused a lot on, you're causing this group to feel bad, or, you're hurting these people's feelings, you're not calling them what they want to be called or something along those lines. Or you're saying something that negatively impacts a minority group. Why is there so much censorship? Like in Canada, there's not even free speech anymore.
Right. It's an authoritarian government, basically, or authoritarian neighbors.
Okay.
It fractionalizes down, right?
Yeah. Yeah, those are our neighbors, yeah.
Right.
And, I hear, oh, look at Canada, look at their model. They're so much better. Well, you know what? I'm going to say it. United States is better than any other country. I just said it.
Agreed.
Yes, agreed.
Deal with it, You heard me. The United States is better than the other countries. So, and that's fine. You're still okay. You're pretty good. But, so, it's authoritarian. And, we hear, Canada's like trying to not have hate speech and everything. But that is a way for the government, you're saying, to infiltrate and control what you say.
Yes.
Compelled speech.
Okay. So why would they do that?
I would say more in the way to get people to be more active in these groups instead of being individualized, because that's what they really want, is us to be into a group, so it's more generalized. It's not focused in on the individual, and we can control people at that point to where, oh, well, you can't call this person that because they want you to call them this.
So is it a specific group that you're talking about?
I would have to say it would be more along the lines of the whole calling people bzzer and these other...
That's not a word.
Yeah.
In Canada, it is.
It is in Canada, yeah.
But it is
That's a
in the
sound.
It actually
Yeah.
is in the transgender community.
Right.
So I mean,
Yeah.
let's be respectful
Oh,
about
is it?
that. Yes.
I don't know what
Again,
it
in the
means. What does it
academic
mean?
end of the whole exercise, they have a complete list.
And
Hey,
it's
I'm not
huge.
trying to be personally disrespectful.
Right.
I
Me
hear
either.
Zer, and I'm like, well, that's the sound your computer makes when it gets hot or something.
Right.
Like, I don't know what
Right.
it means. What does
Right.
it mean?
I'm not sure
Does it
because I'm not
define
in
It's
the
I guess you could. It's in layman. I don't really know the greatest words for it, but a subterm for a gender, subterm for a gender. So they've basically created
one?
their own gender, and
So it's a
they've put a
created-
name to it, and they want you to call them this. And by law in Canada, you have to, and that is why I pointed out the whole compelled speech thing, because that's
It's
what
the
that
law
is.
now that you have to in Canada.
Well, half the time, I'm called out, and I don't want to be called that. No one goes to jail.
Right.
Should they?
Right? Yeah.
No,
No.
no.
They shouldn't go to jail for calling me an
No.
I
asshole.
know.
Right. I don't think so.
Come on. No? Ah.
Maybe if they throw a punch in the course of it.
Good
Ah,
luck trying to
all
catch
right.
everybody who does that. By the
Don't
way.
assault people. Try. Oh, you're saying a lot of people are calling
No,
me assault?
just you couldn't catch everybody who would do that. I mean, come on, think about that. Trying to arrest everybody who calls someone a saying.
Yeah. So okay. So here, in the United States, people call people names and things like that, and they don't go to jail for it. There are limits to our free speech, like yelling "fire" in a crowded theater. That's not okay.
Yeah.
Causes riots.
That
and
would
things.
cause to person or property.
Yeah.
I'm a common law person, so
Okay.
I'm a constitutionalist, not a Republican.
All right. A constitutionalist.
Right.
Or a what
I
about-
believe in the original Constitution, not the Admiralty Maritime Law that we're under, when that's what actually is offering all this authoritarianism through the corporate structures of our government.
Okay. Those were a lot of big, interesting things. Do you want to elaborate on any of that?
Well, it goes back to the last episode where I brought up Marxism and how that's infiltrated into our, they ultimately, what I see is just my perspective. The UN wants to push us all to the same model that China is under currently.
The UN.
The United Nations.
Obama's highly involved with the UN, isn't he?
Right. Nobody elected the UN. I don't ever remember in my lifetime saying, hey, I want this big council of corporations and elite nation people to run the world.
You didn't vote on that?
No, never, not once.
Fuck the UN, man.
Yes.
I don't know. What's going to happen?
Right.
Please don't hurt me. Oh, it's terrible. Well, so the UN. So that's why people are they're trying to get, you know what they're trying to do? Globalism. Globalism.
Globalism.
Hashtag Alex Jones. No, that's what he always talks about, right?
Right.
Right.
So they're trying to get us to like soccer because that's the global sport. So they're like, football, hate football. These guys are on their knees. Don't blame football because someone's kneeling during the anthem. Don't blame football. Football didn't do it. Just like a gun doesn't kill people, people kill people. One player on his knees or 5 or 10 or whatever didn't kill football. So it's okay to watch football and root for your team. Just, wait till it's 5 minutes into the game. Because the globalists are trying to get you to like soccer because that's the global sport. That's a theory. It's not my theory. I think my wife had mentioned it. But what do you think of that theory?
Well, it's just as good as any of the other theories that are out there about globalism.
Damn right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Makes sense to me. Anyway, you can like soccer, but come on. Football, please. So, Alex Jones, he's censored. He was censored on, and they all colluded, right? Did they?
I agree.
It happened.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
They worked together.
The way that it happened, yes.
All, yes.
The biggest social media platforms, the biggest ones, all got together and they're like, hey, let's screw Alex Jones because we caught him saying something that we're going to call mean. And what did he say? He said, what was it, Parkland? Is that the one?
I think it was Sandy Hook.
Sandy Hook.
Yeah.
He said the Sandy Hook school shootings were possibly fabricated or made or government. What was
A false flag.
a false
Yeah.
flag? Yeah. So now was he definitive on that? Do you know?
I've never watched Alex
Yeah, I didn't
Jones
see
that
that one.
much, so.
But let's say he was hypothetical. Well, I don't know. Maybe they were. I think that if you have people whose children die and there's evidence of that, well, that's real. That's
Absolutely.
horrifying. That's sad and scary, and I don't want that. I think that would be terrible. If you say it's fabricated and have evidence of the shooting being fabricated, then you have evidence of the shooting being fabricated. Where's the evidence? I guess you shouldn't say stuff like that without evidence, but should you be shut down for it? What do you think?
No, not in this day and age. We're living in a day where mainstream media lies to us every day, and we're supposed to just accept it. So I don't see anything wrong with asking questions that counter the narrative.
I like it. So you're saying that, yeah, he brought up an alternative narrative, and he shouldn't be shut down for that. But then we go to this whole other spectrum where these are privately owned businesses and institutions and things. These social media businesses are privately owned, so they have the right. But you know what's scary to me? What do you think about that?
The whole Facebook, Twitter,
Yeah.
all of the big companies actually out there for they claim that they're supposed to be bringing people together, bringing families together, bringing friends together. But ironically, most of my posts my mother doesn't even see.
Really?
Yes.
She trying to avoid you?
No, actually, she actually has to go to my profile and click on it so she can see what I've posted because none of it actually reaches her, yet she's following me.
So you're
And
saying that they're doing some filter nonsense with your stuff?
I would say so, for sure. I mean, because we share a lot of the same things, and
We
it's
always see each
very
other's posts, but,
conservative,
yeah.
and yeah, we always see each other's posts. But yeah,
You
my
ever see
mom.
mine?
Yes, I see yours all the time.
Pretty bad, huh? Pretty frightening?
No.
No.
All right, that's off topic. Let's forget about
Right.
that. So, you think that they're kind of manipulating the feeds?
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, and I feel like the way that they're going to sway it for their own story would be, oh, well, we're doing this so that we can avoid conflict between certain sides and soften the whole interaction between people on the internet.
Okay. Well, you know what? How can you grow? How can you
Exactly.
grow when somebody is softening your interactions and all that stuff? If you can't hear an alternative perspective, how are you ever going to change your mind if your mind is stupid, or wrong? Or maybe you're like uninformed and you keep hearing the same things.
Mm-hmm.
Do they want people to hear the same stories, the same narratives?
It seems like that for many years now.
Yeah?
Because I was trapped up in it. I wasn't a voter or anything, but I was trapped up in the story that everybody else, and I was outraged and just along with everybody else riding the roller coaster ride. And at some point I decided, hey, these TV shows, they're making me feel a certain way, and I want to feel my own emotions.
Nice.
And so I turned it all off. And ever since then, I'm like, oh, wait, the world has gone crazy. Like,
Absolutely it has. So, they do all kinds of things to manipulate your emotions. They'll play certain kind of musics, pounding sounds in the background, very intense audio specifically to cause you to react. Can you imagine different tones interacting with the way your body works, causing your anxiety to come up?
Oh, yeah. I actually played music since middle school. I used to play the flute for a very long time. And have you ever heard of anything like the Devil's Chord?
I think I've heard of it. What is it?
It's a series of notes that are quite unsettling to our ears, and it actually triggers a chemical reaction in your brain that it links that kind of a noise to anxiety or fear, or so that's why in horror films you hear a lot of like the little strings going back and that anxiety risen kind of music going. And so the devil's chord is actually used in quite a lot of rock and roll music and a lot of the trending music, I guess you could say, nowadays. And I feel like that has a lot to do with how people, I mean, like when you go to listen to music, you try to relax, or, you know, and if you're into this type of music, do you ever get to a point where you're getting what you want from your music, or are you just hearing these notes that are consistently raising your anxiety and you don't even realize it?
When we talk about raising the anxiety, by the way, I'm going to tell you someone who I know does that. Al Gore. Watch his movie.
Right.
Or don't watch it.
Yeah.
Watch 5 minutes. Listen to the audio. It's trying to raise your anxiety. So you're super scared of global warming. I don't know. It's true. Anyway. You're talking about getting your brain and anxiety going in the music, and that's in more songs nowadays and everything. You know what else is getting our anxiety going? All these emotional posts on social media, these like things that make us they're outrages, and like they're constantly put on there. And the problem is we might all be addicted to social media, and it's constantly probing our emotions and poking at them all the time. Our anxiety, social media, social networking, all these things are just constantly attacking our brains like they have never done in the last, I mean, this is within the last 10 years, you know, maybe 20 years. But before, well, probably like 10 or 15.
10, I'd say 10
10.
safe.
About 10 years. Yeah, before that, no, we didn't have that kind of constant, I mean, like maybe you'd read the newspaper and watch news. That's maybe 2 hours of a day at the most. Now it's at our fingertips, ruining our brains. Ruining.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I completely agree. That, and on top of the whole radiation that your phone produces, and you're consistently holding it up to here or here, and that just alone, I feel like that isn't good for the brain.
So you're saying like little radio waves that are like, we haven't studied how when you just force those into someone's brain. You know what, guys? Take your phones out of your pockets that's by your penis. And
No
your
doubt.
testicles.
Yeah, don't put it in your bra, ladies.
Yeah, get those phones in, you know, wear cargo pants or cargo shorts or something, and you have that really low pocket on the right or the left side, and it's really low. That might be better, but I mean, don't put it on your left or right pocket near your penis or testicles, because I'm
Bad
worried.
news.
Well, it's a fact. If you look into it, sperm counts have gone down.
Yes, it's very
Sperm
disturbing.
counts, it's affecting it. It really is. So take care of your groin area. Put your phone someplace else. All right? Put it in your backpack, maybe. I don't know, something like that. But let me see.
Look, back to Alex Jones
Yes.
for a moment, because the censorship, the way they removed him from all the social media platforms is one thing, but now recently he's not able to have payments processed through PayPal.
Yep.
An interesting fact I found out about PayPal recently is our good friend George Soros recently became the majority shareholder of PayPal. And shortly after that, Alex Jones is no longer to process payments through PayPal. So,
You know what?
coincidence?
I'm actually not friends with Soros.
No, I know. I was just
No, I
trying to
know,
be
you're-
polite.
You're kidding. I don't like him.
Yeah.
I really
At
don't.
all.
No.
No, I do not.
We're not BFF4L or anything like that.
But
he's
it's
a
one thing to
bad-
remove somebody's voice
Sure.
from the public arena, but yet, to take away their monetary, I mean, it's just another level of attack that just, it's unethical.
It's an all-on
yeah,
assault.
Right.
Yeah. It's assault against the other narrative, the other perspective, the other side of politics. If it's not left-leaning, then they want to anything that's owned by someone on the left, blah, blah, blah. These social media platforms are obviously left-leaning. Who are we kidding? They just are. So they're going to shut everyone else down. That's why we need to do a Kickstarter or something to create, or maybe have a government, I know, let's not, by choice, if the government created a free speech platform and then people could choose to go on it or not, you don't have to go on it. But if it was actually a free speech platform in reality, then I think that'd be a good thing.
Well, we do have more popping up. There's one called Gab.ai, and they say they're all for free speech, and a lot of people have abandoned Twitter for that. So we do have some starting up.
There are some starting. They need to get some capital to really push those and market those, because we need those bad. Tired of all the left-leaning social media platforms. And I'm not saying like everyone on the left's a bad thing. I'm saying it's not healthy, it's not right, and it's wrong to only get to hear one side, to only get to, because they demonetize everyone else, make it where they can't make money, like you said. It's I don't know. It's sad. It's an echo chamber. I don't know. I don't think anyone ever gets bored of being in an echo chamber sometimes when they attach emotions to those perspectives, but I don't know. Maybe we should.
Well, I've become involved in this, it's called Patriot Soapbox 24/7 live stream, and it's on YouTube. They're also cross-platform. We have a forum, patriotsoapbox.com, which is just a forum for you to join and interact with. We have Discord channels where we come together with all the information that we're finding and learning about history and stuff, and share it all and kind of come to a group consensus of what we think is, true or not.
What I wonder about is if the government should, because we tried, when you're leaning a little right, you try to say, let's have as small government presence as possible. Let's try to keep government out of everything.
Yep.
But when there are, we'll say hypothetically, 5 social media platforms that have more people involved than most countries, then you gotta wonder, if they're controlling a narrative, aren't they controlling the outcome of elections?
I would say so, yeah.
And it's a manipulation. It is a manipulation. Why are we worried about Russia or something like that? You have social media platforms that have more people than most countries, and they control what everyone gets to listen to. They control who gets money. If you have this narrative, you get to be paid. If you don't get to have money. It's frightening, and we need to, I wonder if we need to ask for the government at some point to step in and get involved with that kind of thing.
Well, I'm pretty sure, I don't know which, lettered thing, but like the people who are like the FCC or whatever, I know that they're looking into it with the whole monopoly situation and whatnot. So they are beginning to research it, and I'm hoping for the best here.
Yeah. We don't want the government to dictate anything, but at the same time, it's frightening when it influences everyone.
Right.
And you gotta wonder, were antitrust violations happening, antitrust laws, when you get all the biggest social media platforms to kick one guy off at one time? And now even what's his name, James Woods, was censored on Twitter.
Yes.
Yeah. And they said, hey, if you take that one parody meme, he was parodying, doing a parody of a leftist meme, right?
Right.
Okay, what was that one about?
So it had a picture of some perceived leftist young men on it saying, we're not going to vote this year so that women's vote count more.
Oh, right.
Like, and hashtag whatever, and Yeah, that was the meme.
So they said he was trying to manipulate. He was trying to manipulate the elections, basically.
To influence the election.
He was trying to influence, telling like the leftist men or whatever not to go out and vote so that the women's vote counts more. Well, yeah, that's obviously a parody unless you're an idiot, clearly. But so he does this parody, and he's in trouble for influencing elections. Meanwhile, the hypocrisy in that is that he always puts things that are conservative up. James Woods, I don't know if you've checked out his Twitter, but he's very hardcore conservative, and he's always putting things like that up. And you just shut down a conservative voice, and so you've silenced one more. You've silenced Alex Jones, you silence James Woods, you silence, I think, Steve Crowder was silenced for a little while. And when you keep shutting down voices that are not part of the echo chamber, doesn't that influence elections?
I would say
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Because how could people make an informed decision unless they hear all sides?
They don't get to. They don't get to hear all sides.
Now they want us to know the narrative very well, though.
Yeah, they want you to hear one narrative. We get to hear one really hard.
And a narrative is a story.
Yeah. So you get to hear one story with one ending. And then, you know what also is kind of strange when we take like these, I was just thinking, because you said a narrative is a story, I was thinking about that Maleficent movie, Sleeping Beauty. We all remember Sleeping Beauty with the evil Maleficent, and then they went ahead and took Maleficent, this dark character with the cheekbones, really cool, and she was awesome in Sleeping Beauty, but then in this movie with Angelina Jolie, they made her the victim, and then, some sort of hero and everything. She was just initially a badass. So she gets to be victimized in that Maleficent movie? That's not very cool.
Right. Justifying the evil outcome.
Yeah. What are we trying to justify all evils? I'm sure that, somebody told Hitler at some point, your art is shit. And then he's like, well, I'm going to kill all the Jews then.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was the timeline of events.
I'm saying, like you said, justifying evil. Like,
right.
Yeah, we can't.
Trying to make it like, oh, the poor, oh, sure, that's why they did this horrible thing. Feel bad for them.
Yeah.
Never mind the victims and the chaos that comes from it, right?
Exactly. I don't know. I wonder who's thinking about that. I bet you are now, aren't you? Should
Obviously, we are.
We are. This is a good group. All right. So, censorship, that comes from, we don't have a lot of time left,
Right,
but
obviously.
friends, family, I get people telling me when I say something like, recently I was like, I hate drugs, I think they're dumb, and everyone's like, shut up, and, that's my perspective. I get to have it. I'm not going to shut up because you tell me to shut up. And that's from, like, friends who are addicted to drugs. I think there are good aspects to some drugs, but when we talk about things like, personally, in my opinion, on things like methamphetamines and stuff like that you get addicted to, and then you get all these scabs all over, and then you become homeless and you're robbing people. I mainly hate the guy who broke into my truck at one point, but I think he was trying to get money from meth. I don't really know him, but that's my guess. I don't like meth.
Right.
But, do you get people telling you, shut up?
My whole life.
Your whole life?
Yeah.
Well, what about recently with your political perspectives?
Basically, when I try to speak my piece or present any kind of evidence or what I deem as facts, I'm basically told no.
You're just told no.
Yes.
They
I
keep
hear
it
no
short
a
and sweet?
lot, yes. Well, I mean,
yeah.
there's a lot more, but like, no, I get shut down. No. Just rejected, like, nope, that's not true. I'm not going to believe it.
Wow, that's not very, I don't know, you'd think someone would want to elaborate on that conversation quite a bit. Wow. Do you have any final thoughts on that censorship? Do you get censored by people, or are they telling you to shut up?
Usually if I get censored, it's either from somebody who is starting to realize my point of views and then they dislike it, And so they try to sway me the other way, and I'm like, nope, sorry.
They're starting to realize your point of view?
Yeah, because I'm still new into it all. Like, I've started researching in the last year with her, and so my eyes have been opening up more to a lot of things, and so I'm more bold about it lately, and so people are starting to see that more out of me, and they're like, okay, so this is weird. Some of them don't know quite how to respond to that. I have been able to keep basically her and my other friend, Amy, who, she and I, we still love each other. We're good friends.
We still love each other? Does it feel different?
But we definitely, we'll have debates. We'll have like moments of debates in our hangout. It won't be the whole thing. Like, we'll go do or whatever, hang out, watch movies, do whatever. But we'll have those like 30-minute breakdowns where like, all right, we got to figure this out.
You know what I feel? I was like, you know, anti-gun, pro-Bernie and all this other stuff like a long time ago. And now I'm like, I own a lot of guns and...
Good, I know where I'm coming.
But, so I changed. I did like a whole 180. And people were like, whoa, I thought he was a good guy. I thought he was one of us.
Right.
I didn't know he was one of those evil guys.
It kind of feels like that, for sure.
One
yeah.
of my Antifa friends, when he had posted something about white privilege, his little chart, and I replied, do you want genocide? Because this is how you get genocide. And he's like, white genocide. I'm like, I didn't say white genocide. I don't know what side the genocide would happen on, but, you know, this is the ingredients. Deleted and blocked immediately.
You were deleted and blocked?
Yes, immediately.
I was unfollowed recently by a really good friend, and I think it was so sad, because I'm not trying to spread hate. I'm trying to, like, express my views so that the people who wonder or feel something along those lines feel like they're not alone. You know what I mean?
I think that's why I've been doing on Facebook what I have been too, yeah.
Yeah, I want people to know they're not alone. I want people to know that, you know, when you have these perspectives, like you're saying, like, white privilege crap, that's all racist.
It's not real. It's
Yeah.
not true. That's a Marxist concept.
Yeah,
Yep.
A
it is.
Bolshevik concept.
Yes.
It's racist.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I don't know. I think we'll stop talking about censorship because we don't want to get censored.
Censorship is bad,
We don't
okay?
want to get censored here. If we talk about censorship anymore, they're going to get us.
Right.
Right.
So, but I want to thank you for joining Free Speech Northwest. Thank you. Free Speech Northwest is brought to you by Adams Ribs Smokehouse, located at 1210 State Street, Salem, Oregon 97301.